Everyone knows that NXT has been famous for a lot of things. For one, is historic moments. Like what happened this past Tuesday on NXT, where we saw Ethan Page win the NXT North American Championship, and we even also saw JCJ do the impossible of becoming the NXT Women's Champion. We even also saw at one point in NXT's history the destruction of arguably one of the most notorious factions in NXT history, the Undisputed Era. It's also been known for some incredible premium live events over the years, including NXT TakeOver The End, NXT TakeOver Philly, NXT TakeOver New Orleans, TakeOver 30, and even also NXT TakeOver 36, where we saw Gunther tap out to a sleeper from Ilya Dragunov. Even also some of the other premium live events that we've had for NXT over the years, including Battleground last year, Battleground this year, Stand and Deliver, the Great American Bash, and of course, No Mercy. And it's also been known for bringing stars over to the main roster. For some, it became quite the success story. For others, not so much. Some of the old NXT stars that made it big in WWE are superstars the likes of Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Seth freaking Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, and Roman Reigns. For others, not so much. Some of them ended up getting released from WWE because of various reasons. Guys like Baron Corbin, Madcap Moss, guys like Ricochet, guys like Lars Sullivan, women like Sasha Banks, and even guys like the Velveteen Dream. However, two women in particular have seemingly made such an impact on the NXT women's division that reports have stated that these two women are slated to be on the main roster sometime in the next couple of weeks. But who are they? Well, excuse me. Well, they are none other than former TNA Knockouts champion Jordynn Grace and former NXT Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer. Obviously, both had such an incredible match this past Sunday at Battleground, where we saw Stephanie Vaquer take Jordynn Grace to the limit, defeating her in the process. We even saw Stephanie Vaquer attempt to overcome the odds against Fatal Influence once again, but the third time, unfortunately, was not the charm for Stephanie Vaquer, for the Dark Angel, as she loses the NXT Women's title to Jacy Jayne in a shocking moment that no one will ever forget. However, some people believe that their main roster call-up might be a mistake. But the question is, how and why? Well, let's break it down. Let's unpack all of that in today's video. Starting with Jordynn Grace. Everyone knows that Jordynn Grace had such an incredible career as a bodybuilder and as a bodybuilding champion. She made the transition from bodybuilding to professional wrestling a number of years ago, having such an incredible run in TNA, not only as TNA Digital Media Champion, not only as TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champion, but also, think about this. I'm going to try and look her up. Let's see. Jordynn Grace, here we are. So not only does she have such an incredible run in TNA, but she even has won multiple championships in every promotion that she has been a part of, including Battle Club Pro, Black Label Pro, TNA, Lancaster Championship Wrestling, AAA, Nova Pro Wrestling, and even also Progress. Some of the championships that she has won over the years are as followed. Championships like the TNA Digital Media Championship, obviously being the first ever champion, being a 3-time TNA Knockouts champion, a former Knockouts Tag Team champion with Rachel Ellering, the daughter of WWE Hall of Famer Paul Ellering. Even also winning the 2022 Queen of the Mountain match, and also 4 TNA year-end awards. Obviously, 4 Knockouts Tag Team of the Year with Rachel Ellering, 2-time Knockout of the Year, and of course Match of the Year last year against Masha Slamovich at Bound for Glory. Even also in Progress, being a former Progress Women's Champion. So many championships that Jordynn Grace has won over the years. She was unfortunately unable to capture the NXT Women's title on multiple occasions, including Battleground last year against Roxanne Perez, and now this year against Stephanie Vaquer. She even had a massive opportunity at Stand and Deliver this past April in Las Vegas in a fatal 4-way, but could not get the job done. However, her matches impressed WWE so much that she got called up to the SmackDown roster. But is that a bad idea? As far as Jordynn Grace goes, some would say that yes, it is a bad idea because of the fact that she had only been a part of NXT for a few short months. But given how many championships she had won outside of WWE over the years, some would say that yes, maybe it was a good idea for Jordynn Grace to join the SmackDown roster. I believe this was reported by PW Insider and also Sportskeeda that her call up to SmackDown could be as soon as after Money in the Bank next week. So sometime between tonight's SmackDown, next Friday's SmackDown, and the Friday after Money in the Bank is when we can expect Jordynn Grace to show up to the main roster, which in my opinion seems like a good idea because this will give SmackDown a new face to potentially take the WWE Women's Championship or the Women's United States Championship and elevate it to heights that no one ever saw coming. However, some believe that it's a bad idea for the sole reason that she had only been in NXT for a few months and did not capture any gold in NXT. Interestingly enough, in a way, I kind of do agree in a way, but at the same time, she admitted I think in a promo before she got signed, she mentioned in her promo that the reason why she wanted to be a part of NXT was because she wanted to compete against the best that NXT had to offer, including women such as Kalani Jordynn, JCJ, Jada Parker, and even also Julia, who is also a part of the SmackDown roster. Excuse me. Now, as far as Stephanie Vaquer goes, her journey to WWE is a bit of an interesting one, as in my honest opinion. The weird thing about Stephanie Vaquer's journey to WWE is the fact that she became arguably one of, if not the most dangerous woman in professional wrestling overseas. Having won at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Having won 11 championships over the years, including the CMLL Women's Championship, the Women's Tag Team Championship in CMLL, as well as the Strong Women's Championship as part of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and even recently the NXT Women's Championship and the NXT Women's North American Championship. Stephanie Vaquer became a household name in not just in Japan, but pretty much every promotion that she had been a part of. She became a household name and had been in the ring with some of the very best that the business has to offer, including women like La Catalina, La Jarochita. Who else can I name? Mercedes Moné, obviously known as Sasha Banks in WWE. Even also women such as Dani Luna, Rio, Kanji, and so many others as well. She even also at one point in her career competed in the promotion known as AEW, which again I do not watch, unfortunately. I know some people want me to watch and check out the product, but not my cup of tea. But she did confront the TBS champion Mercedes Moné on AEW, and it ended up defeating Lady Frost. And even also lost her Strong Women's Championship against Mercedes Moné when she put up the TBS title as well. Interestingly enough, back in July of last year, so almost around this time last year, Shawn Michaels actually announced that Stephanie Vaquer had signed with WWE and would be expected to make her her debut at a later time. Obviously, she made her in-ring debut back in October of last year, and which of course from then up until now, the rest is pretty much history. Obviously, being the first Chilean superstar to become NXT Women's Champion, and of course the first Chilean superstar to win the NXT Women's North American title. The weird thing is her loss to JC Jane was obviously the sign that she was going to get called up to the main roster. And of course, the brand that will be acquiring Stephanie Vaquer would be none other than Monday Night Raw. With the amount of talent that's on Raw, it's proof that Monday Night Raw has an all-star lineup of female talent, including Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan. Who else can I name? Natalia, Maxine Dupree, and of course the Women's World Champion, Io Sky. Even also Becky Lynch and the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria. So obviously there is a lot of talent on Raw that Stephanie Vaquer could go up against at some point. But the question is, for both superstars, is it a bad idea to bring them to the main roster this early? And the answer for Jordynn Grace is yes. For Stephanie Vaquer, the answer is no. Jordynn Grace, yes to Jordynn Grace, because it mainly has a lot to do with the fact that those who had never won championships in NXT that get called up to the main roster super early, they end up only winning maybe one or two championships in WWE, and they end up getting released a few years later, which it happened to it happened to Aleister Black, it happened to Andrade, it happened to Zelina Vega at one point in her career. Didn't win a single title in WWE because she was more of a manager than she was an active member of the women's division. Who else did that work on? Rusev as well. Lana obviously never won any championships in WWE, even in spite of being a part of the women's division, and several others after, even Baron Corbin, to name one. Jordynn Grace, I feel like could potentially be another one of those superstars that might win a championship or two, and then end up getting released in the process. By that point, logically speaking, she could end up back in TNA, and then end up back on NXT at some point, which is very possible. But I feel like Jordynn Grace getting called up to the main roster is a bad idea because of that. Because of the fact that she could end up getting lost in the shuffle and just end up winning a championship or two, and then end up getting released in the end. It is very possible, and it's happened with a lot of WWE superstars over the years. Even guys like Velveteen Dream having only won the NXT North American Championship, ended up getting released because of some bullshit stunt that he pulled a number of years ago. Guys like Ricochet, for guys like him, a former North American champion, former Intercontinental champion, former U.S. champion, former Dusty Cup winner, even also winning the WWE Speed Men's Championship as well. In fact, I believe he was the first superstar to hold that title, actually. So So again, it could potentially happen for Jordynn Grace, but as long as she puts in the work, because we've seen on NXT, she always puts in the work, whether it's hitting the gym, cutting promos, competing in that ring. She always puts in the work. So I have no doubt in my mind that yes, she could end up become a massive star on SmackDown and a massive threat to both Zelina Vega and Tiffany Stratton as women's champion and women's US champion respectively. I feel like even in spite of that, it's only a matter of time before she ends up getting lost in the shuffle, ends up getting released. It's very possible, but as long as she puts in the work, she'll be okay. She'll be all right. Now, as far as Stephanie Vaquer goes, her championship accolades speak for themselves. She's the only person in NXT to hold both the NXT Women's title and the Women's North American title in a single reign, which for her to give up the North American title proves that she wants the best for the NXT Women's division, and because that it's now in the hands of both JC Jane and Sol Ruka, I have no doubt in my mind that NXT is going to thrive and escalate to heights unimaginable. And we also found out that at Worlds Collide, at Worlds Collide, her and Lola Vice will be in action next Saturday. Let's see. Worlds Collide. Let's see. The card right now, as it sits, here's the card as it sits, and we actually have a massive update on the card, so I have to write it down in my book. But we have not one but two 6-man tags. The first one will be Legado del Fantasma against Elio de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. And then of course the newly released match on the card will be the LWO, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wild against Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Iguana. Plus we got Chad Gable versus Elio del Vikingo for the AAA Mega Championship, obviously being the fact that Vikingo defeated Alberto El Patron to win the title as a bit of a dumb leak that WWE decided to do. Fatal 4-way for the North American title between Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Rey Fenix. And then of course the big tag match that everybody's been talking about for the last few days, Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice against Cheek Tormenta and Dallas, which is going to be very interesting considering the fact that both Tormenta and Dallas help Fatal Influence cost Stephanie Vaquer the NXT Women's title. So this proves that there's a lot of rich history between Vaquer and those two ladies. So for Stephanie Vaquer, getting called up to the main roster is a brilliant idea because of the fact that she's already done everything that she said that she wanted to do in NXT. She said that she joined NXT to make sure that she was ready, and she feels like she is ready. Do I feel like she's ready for the main roster? 100%. She could definitely become a massive threat to Io Sky. She could be a massive threat to Lyra Valkyria, and if she were to find herself a tag team partner, she could also become a massive threat to the women's tag team titles currently being held by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day. So it's very possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But as far as Jordynn Grace goes, it'll be very interesting to see her on SmackDown if these rumors are true, which most likely they are. But if they are true, it'll be interesting to see how well she'll fare against superstars the likes of Charlotte Flair, Julia. Who else can I name? Excuse me. Against Piper Niven, Alba Fire, Chelsea Green, Zelina Vega. It'll be very, very interesting to say the very least. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. And as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.